Have you ever imagined a giant Boeing airliner landing on a runway so short that even experienced pilots hold their breath? What if that aircraft belonged to Donald Trump, one of the most recognizable private jets in the world? One small mistake, one gust of wind, 1 second too late on the brakes, and the aircraft could end up in the ocean. Today, we're taking you inside one of the most breathtaking aviation stories ever told. You'll discover why this tiny airport is considered one of the world's most dangerous, how pilots prepare for landings here, and what really happens inside the cockpit during those final heart-stopping seconds. Stay until the end because the final approach will completely change the way you look at aviation forever. The Caribbean is home to some of the most beautiful islands on Earth. Crystal clear blue water, green mountains, and peaceful beaches attract travelers from every corner of the world. Hidden among these tropical islands is a tiny volcanic island called Saba. At first glance, it looks like paradise. But for pilots, Saba represents one of aviation's greatest challenges. Unlike major international airports with long runways stretching for thousands of meters, Saba Airport offers almost no room for error. The runway sits between steep hills on one side and the open ocean on the other. It is so short that many commercial airliners simply cannot use it. Only specially approved aircraft and highly trained pilots are normally allowed to operate here. Now imagine something far larger than the airplanes usually seen at Saba. Imagine a massive Boeing aircraft painted in black, red, and white, approaching this tiny runway. The size difference alone is enough to leave aviation fans speechless. The giant jet appears almost too large for the airport itself. Long before the aircraft reaches the island, preparations begin. Pilots carefully study weather reports, wind direction, visibility, and air pressure. Every detail matters because conditions can change quickly over the Caribbean Sea. Strong crosswinds, sudden turbulence, and rapidly changing weather can make an already difficult approach even more demanding. Inside the cockpit, every checklist is completed with precision. Landing gear is prepared. Flaps are extended step by step. Navigation systems are verified. Speed is carefully monitored. Communication with air traffic control remains calm and professional. Although passengers may be relaxing in their seats, the flight crew knows they are approaching one of the most demanding moments of the journey. As the aircraft gets closer, the island slowly grows larger through the cockpit windows. From a distance, the runway almost disappears against the rocky landscape. Unlike major airports where pilots can see a long strip of pavement stretching ahead, here the runway seems unbelievably small. Every second now becomes critical. The pilots must maintain exactly the correct speed. Too fast, and the aircraft may not stop in time. Too slow, and the aircraft could lose lift before reaching the runway. The margin for error is incredibly small. Outside, waves crash against the rocky shoreline. The ocean sparkles under the sunlight, creating a peaceful view that hides the seriousness of the approach. Tourists watching from nearby hills often hold their cameras ready because every landing here feels like witnessing history. As the aircraft descends lower, the engines produce a steady roar while automatic systems assist the crew. Yet despite all modern technology, this remains a task where human skill makes the biggest difference. Experienced airline captains spend years mastering approaches into difficult airports. Training includes simulator sessions that recreate dangerous weather, engine failures, crosswinds, and emergency situations. Pilots learn not only how to fly the airplane but also when to abandon a landing if conditions become unsafe. This decision is known as a go-around. Many people believe landing is simply a matter of touching the wheels onto the runway. In reality, professional pilots are trained to reject a landing if anything doesn't look right. Safety always comes first. Even if passengers feel disappointed by a missed approach, choosing to climb away and try again is often the safest decision. As the Boeing continues descending, its landing gear locks firmly into place. The giant wheels wait only moments before meeting the pavement. Inside the cabin, passengers begin looking through their windows. Some notice just how close the ocean appears beneath them. The aircraft now crosses the shoreline. Only a few hundred feet remain. The runway finally becomes clearly visible. From above, it looks incredibly short. The pilots remain completely focused. Every instrument is monitored. Every movement is smooth. Every correction is tiny but important. A slight gust of wind pushes against the aircraft. The captain responds with a gentle adjustment using the controls. The wings remain level. The aircraft continues descending exactly along the centerline. Modern Boeing aircraft are designed with advanced flight computers that help stabilize the airplane, but technology never replaces pilot judgment. Especially at challenging airports, experience becomes the most valuable tool in the cockpit. Meanwhile, airport personnel watch from below. Ground crews understand that every arrival here requires precision. Emergency services remain prepared, not because they expect problems, but because aviation safety always plans for every possibility. As the aircraft sinks lower, the runway markings rush closer. 100 feet. 50 feet. 30 feet. The pilots smoothly reduce engine thrust. The aircraft begins to flare. Its nose rises gently. The descent rate decreases. Passengers feel the airplane floating just above the runway for a brief moment. Then comes the most anticipated part of the flight. The main landing gear is only inches above the pavement. Every eye inside the cockpit remains fixed ahead. This single moment represents thousands of hours of training, years of experience, and the remarkable engineering behind one of the world's most advanced aircraft. And just as the wheels prepare to touch, the massive landing gear finally kisses the runway with a firm but controlled touchdown. A brief puff of white tire smoke rises into the air as the wheels spin up from zero to incredible speed in just a fraction of a second. The aircraft is now on the ground, but the most critical part is far from over. On a normal runway, pilots have plenty of distance to slow down. Here, every meter counts. The captain immediately deploys the spoilers. Large panels rise from the wings, destroying lift and forcing the full weight of the aircraft onto the landing gear. At the same time, reverse thrust roars from the engines, creating an unmistakable sound that echoes across the island. Passengers feel themselves being pushed gently forward as the airplane decelerates. Outside the windows, the end of the runway seems surprisingly close. There is no room for hesitation. Every braking system works together exactly as designed. Carbon brakes absorb enormous amounts of energy while anti-skid systems prevent the wheels from locking. Even though everything appears smooth inside the cabin, thousands of calculations are happening every second. The aircraft continues slowing. The runway disappears rapidly beneath the wheels. The ocean waits just beyond the pavement. For people watching from nearby hillsides, it feels almost unbelievable that such a large airplane can stop safely in such a limited space. Finally, the speed drops to taxi pace. The aircraft rolls calmly toward the apron. A wave of relief spreads through the cockpit. The hardest part of the flight is over. But this airport is famous for another reason. Taking off is just as demanding. Unlike airports with long runways where aircraft gradually build speed, pilots here must calculate every detail before advancing the throttles. Aircraft weight, outside temperature, wind direction, runway condition, and engine performance all affect the amount of runway required. If even one number is incorrect, safety margins can disappear. That is why flight planning begins long before passengers board. Dispatchers, engineers, and pilots carefully analyze the flight. Fuel loads are optimized. Cargo weight is reviewed. Passenger numbers are confirmed. Every kilogram matters. Inside the cockpit, the departure checklist begins. Flight controls are checked. Navigation systems are programmed. Engine instruments are verified. Emergency procedures are reviewed one final time. The captain and first officer work as a team, confirming each item with calm, professional communication. Outside, the aircraft waits at the beginning of the runway. Ahead lies only a short strip of asphalt. Beyond it, nothing but open sea. The captain smoothly advances the throttles. The engines respond with incredible power. The deep roar grows louder every second. Acceleration pushes everyone gently back into their seats. The runway centerline races beneath the nose. Speed builds rapidly. 40 knots. 80 knots. 100 knots. Every call-out inside the cockpit is precise and confident. There is no distraction. Only focus. Only discipline. As the airplane reaches rotation speed, the captain gently pulls back on the control column. The nose begins to rise. For one unforgettable moment, it almost seems as though the aircraft will run out of runway. Then the main landing gear lifts free from the ground. The giant airplane climbs gracefully into the Caribbean sky. Cheers can often be heard from aviation enthusiasts watching nearby. Every successful departure reminds them why aviation is considered one of the greatest achievements of modern engineering. Many people believe airports become dangerous because of poor design. In reality, airports like this operate safely because strict regulations, pilot training, and aircraft performance requirements are followed without compromise. Commercial aviation remains one of the safest forms of transportation ever created. Behind every flight are thousands of professionals working together. Pilots, air traffic controllers, aircraft engineers, meteorologists, ground crews, dispatchers. Each person contributes to making every journey as safe as possible. Technology also plays an enormous role. Modern aircraft continuously monitor engine performance, hydraulic systems, electrical systems, fuel flow, cabin pressure, weather radar, navigation accuracy, and hundreds of additional parameters. If anything unusual occurs, pilots receive immediate information and follow carefully designed procedures. This combination of technology and human expertise has transformed aviation into an industry with extraordinary safety standards. Yet airports like Saba continue to capture people's imagination because they remind us that flying is still an incredible skill. Every landing, every takeoff, every successful flight represents years of engineering, training, and teamwork. The next time you look out of an airplane window during landing, remember the countless hours of preparation happening behind the scenes. From the first weather briefing to the final shutdown checklist, every step is built around one goal: bringing every passenger safely to their destination. Whether it's a giant Boeing crossing oceans or a smaller aircraft serving remote islands, the principles remain the same. Precision, discipline, experience, and above all, safety. Thank you for watching this incredible aviation journey. If you enjoyed discovering one of the world's most fascinating airport operations, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next adventure into the amazing world of aviation. Safe travels, and we'll see you in the next video.